forward since we'll have some topics. Are you adding other ones too, Alex, or should we
No,
just tackle this? Okay. All
I'll
right.
start with
So,
this.
okay. All right. So I'm going to pop this one open. You can take it.
Okay, so basically it's just like there's no burning issue right now for this release, but folks have been wondering why CDI releases after KubeVirt and not before, since
Hmm.
it's very possible for KubeVirt to try to consume CDI APIs prior to release. So
Hmm.
I guess the real answer is that we like the flexibility.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm missing something. Like releasing before KubeVirt is going to be just a lot harder. It's going to mean we branch out a lot before. Um, yeah, and just maybe I'm missing another historical issue, but I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I think we've always preferred the flexibility to release when needed. We were always kind of like willing to do ad hoc releases when necessary. It just wasn't as necessary to be structured. But I would also say that I think CDI can release more frequently than KubeVirt. It's not a burden for us, I would say, as much. So maybe we should consider an approach where we do a release generally around, or like one release that's tied to the most convenient area within the KubeVirt release cycle, and then we can still do subsequent ad hoc releases after that. But as long as there's like a line in the sand for one that people know that they could get things into. I guess the other alternative would be to um, uh, basically to publicize the fact that if you have a dependency on CDI, you can ask us for a release and you'll get one, which is a little less.
Yeah, no, that it won't really work. I floated the idea of using alphas, and that's what we've been doing.
Mhm.
But like the claim is that you can't really use the alphas in KubeVirt and then release KubeVirt like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
in case we went back on our promise and said no, just kidding, we don't want that.
yeah.
But it depends. But I guess I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure because an alpha release doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I guess KubeVirt doesn't want to have a stable release that depends on a CDI alpha, but like also to get the API in, I guess it more depends about the stability of the API that KubeVirt's depending on, maybe a little bit. I don't know. It's a purity argument, I think, I guess. Like if we know that somebody's depending on something, it's a sister project, so it's not something like a totally different repo where we would like leave KubeVirt high and dry.
Yeah, I think in the past, if we needed, if KubeVirt needed the API, we would just do a release before KubeVirt. It was just, yeah,
Hmm.
What
very
if you
loose.
what if you need like the functionality that goes along like I don't think we have a way to support that today. Like it all has to go through KubeVirt CI and stuff, and that doesn't pick up alphas.
Hmm. I would also say that in the past, there wasn't so much dependencies on CDI. I remember it was a big thing to get when we got the data volume template support. I think like Michael and David worked pretty hard on that stuff back in the day. And like that was the first time where like we had to grapple with this idea that what if CDI isn't installed, which isn't really, I think, even an issue anymore because of there are so many interdependencies now. So we're definitely more coupled. But yeah, I mean, this really goes to like to the CDI maintainers in terms of how you guys want to run that, because I mean, I think it's the number of requests like this that come in, I guess, are small enough that it doesn't hurt to cut releases for KubeVirt or for particular developers when we need that. Like if we know that there's some coming up, we could cut a release sometime ahead of the KubeVirt feature freeze so that those PRs can merge, and then we can continue working and cut other releases. Because what I will say, I feel pretty strongly about not wanting to have quite so long of a stabilization phase as KubeVirt has. It makes it very different. Like you have to be a fortune teller um to get code into a particular KubeVirt release that you want. So I think that being flexible to have more frequent releases in CDI is still something that would make sense and probably isn't so burdensome. But yeah, it's probably Alexander type of a call at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, we could just try it for a release, maybe. I really hate, like, if I wasn't put under any pressure, I would just keep releasing the way we do now. I think that's the most convenient. But I understand the argument.
How many
So,
times has it happened? Do you know, like in
no,
recent days?
nothing happened. Like this time around, they don't need a new API.
Oh,
Like it's just they noticed it.
oh, so it's a hypothetical problem.
For
Like
now,
a
yeah.
it's a very plausible hypothetical, but no one was harmed in the creation of the last KubeVirt release. So
Yeah, no, nothing like
unless
that.
there's some kind of like hard CNCF requirement, which I can't imagine that being the case, I would say that it's a problem that hasn't manifested itself then. Like, yeah, it's a valid point, but we have a workaround for it, which is if you need an API, you just come and talk to the CDI maintainers and they'll help you out.
Yeah, I think the last time this happened was during the data volume claim adoption stuff when we were doing the replication. And I think all we did was we knew that we were going to need it, so I started working on it early in the release. And then yeah, we just released before KubeVirt did and rendered it in later.
Yep.
How did you use the actual new container images? Like it in KubeVirt, you only get the latest CDI deployed to the cluster, so you don't have the new images with the functionality in the controller.
No, I mean, we did a release in CDI. So,
Yeah. Oh, that a real release.
Yeah,
like
real release. Yeah.
Okay, like not an alpha.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I mean, just ad hoc release if you need it. But like
Yeah,
for the general case, I really like the flexibility.
yeah, it seems, I mean, CDI is a critical part of the KubeVirt ecosystem, but I don't think it necessarily, like we haven't had too many compelling reasons to wrap it with as much process as KubeVirt needs. I mean, we're already using the VEPs and things from there and like sharing a lot of stuff, but yeah, in terms of since we haven't actually caused anyone a problem yet, it seems like a more of a somebody wants things to processes to feel consistent, but that's not always maybe, or pure or something like that, but that might not be a good enough argument until we actually need it, because it does come with a cost.
And I also want to point out is that not everybody uses CDI, even though they use KubeVirt.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Harvester does not use CDI at all. They have their own like mechanism for populating disks.
Okay. Yeah, well, we designed it to be modular and to work that way. So yeah, that's great. Okay, so I guess it seems like the emerging consensus on this one is that we don't feel that there's a need for changes and that the current mechanism has been working well enough. I guess if there was like lots of people who don't like know the CDI project at all, but somehow are dependent upon it for their code, that you could start to run in a problem where like people get frustrated and don't know how to move forward. But I don't think that that's really been an issue. So I'm gonna write a little note under the agenda item. So okay. I think that sounds like the emerging consensus. Anyone disagree with that statement? All right. Any other agenda items for today?
Maybe we could go through like issues in either in the CDI repo or the SIG storage KubeVirt ones. I believe the filters in the past meeting summaries somewhere.
Yeah, there's no new CDI issues since we last checked them. So
Okay.
maybe let's take a look at the KubeVirt ones.
Okay, let me get that loaded here. All right, so I can do SIG.
It's yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we have a couple of dequarantine. Do we know how these ones come, the dequarantine issues? Does somebody open those or does it get created automatically? Oh, Daniel Hiller opened on July 9th. So anytime we quarantine a test, we get an issue like this.
Yes.
That's kind of nice. All right. And these are these yours, Alexander, related to the stuff that you merged, or are these the other tests that we've had for a long time?
The first two, I believe, are related to the declarative hot plug,
Mm-hmm.
and then the live migration one is not.
All right. So I wonder, like Michael, if you're still with us, do you know about, like, I guess you probably added those tests, or did your code just like change the way hot plug
Um,
works?
So I fixed, if you click on the first one, I think I fixed it. Scroll down. Yeah, I fixed that.
Okay, so how do we close close this? We've got to unquarantine, or we got to check the quarantine lane, I guess, to see that it's passing now.
So I actually de-quarantined it, and it I think hasn't been an issue since. So if in the PR it tested it a bunch. I didn't. The PR didn't refer to this as fixed though, so I wonder if just simply updating the description and adding a reference to this would close this.
Okay, this is the one, so I'll try to see if I can add that.
See if you can edit the description. No, you can't.
Maybe only you can. Does it
Yeah.
respond to comments? I can still add it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So, oh, we have, yeah, you mentioned this pull request 2 weeks ago in the issue here, so I'm gonna write it here though.
You can probably just manually close it since it's fixed. So,
As long as we know the tests are actually de-quarantined, so we don't lose track of them. But if that probably happened in this PR.
Yeah, if you look at the PR, it should include the quarantine. So click on the test, like all the way over the
Yeah.
last file.
Oh yeah. Yep. Okay. So it's removed, so then we should be able to close the issue.
Yeah.
I can't do it, I guess. Well, oh, okay, I can type close, right?
Maybe.
I think you can. Yeah.
All right. So, how about the next one?
This one I don't know about. Let's see.
It's from the same batch. I don't know if it's related.
Yeah, what's the easiest way, Alex, to check if this is still an issue?
I just I opened the original PR that put it to quarantine, and there's a filter there to see
Is
if
this
it's
the
still failing.
source?
No, let me link it to you.
I wish it would put me back to the, okay.
In the chat here.
Did I find it? This
Yeah.
is yours from June 23rd. Yeah.
Yeah, the PR has some links to like the search query. You have the PR ID.
How do I get
Like
to where do I click to get to the pull request? I'm in the commit. I know you
next to the
pasted it to chat.
branch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh
there
yeah.
you
right
go.
there. So that would be the first one. The first link in the references section.
Oh, whoops. Okay, sorry. Yep. Okay.
Looks like it doesn't fail. Maybe if you increase the 2 days filter to something
Okay,
Okay.
2 days ago. 2 and 3 days ago. So it didn't fail, but we may not have had runs since then or something.
I think you have 14 days. That'll give a better picture.
It's not letting me click. There we go. Oops, that's the lines. I need this one. Okay, so failed a reasonable amount.
Yeah, like this
Reasonable.
this amount doesn't warrant quarantine, but like it still fails, which is
What,
weird.
really? I would say like, I mean, if it fails at all, like it's gonna fail the whole job.
Yeah, there's like a criteria percentage, but yeah, it's of course it's bad.
Hmm. Yeah, I still wouldn't de-quarantine it unless it was addressed somehow. Because there was a reason we put it in there to begin with. Permanently add hot plug volume, so we can. And why is eject related? Another
It's
test
like
of it.
yeah, it's a batch quarantine PR, so
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not even sure that the two first entries are related.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we need to figure out and find some. Oh yeah, here's the. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. The eject, we think but that was fixed. You fixed this one a while ago,
Yeah,
maybe. Well, it's only July 11th, and this was opened on July 9th, so maybe it's fixed.
it's August 11th.
Oh my God.
But
Jesus.
so it was de-quarantined, so I assume that if it was an issue, it would have been re-quarantined by now.
Hmm. Yeah, so the other ones are still there. We need to figure out some owners to look at these. It'd be nice if you could find some time to take a look at the other hot plug ones, Michael, since you were the last one in there doing anything. Well, you and Alexander, so maybe you guys can fight over it. We also have the live migrations across namespaces one. So what's the deal with this one, Alexander?
Well, so the fix is in. But the fix didn't de-quarantine it because I couldn't pass the de-quarantine lane because it would fall over after a couple of hundred runs.
Yep.
So what we did is we split it out into two PRs. One PR that actually did the fix, and the other PR is just for the de-quarantine. And while it was running, it ran into a failure that looked like it's related to the actual live migration. I just haven't had a chance to look at that because I was looking
Okay.
at the other stuff.
Okay. All right. So that one's kind of still in progress.
Yeah, and in my opinion, it's fixed, but there might still be some like really, weird race conditions in there that we'll find.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this NVMe device one, I remember we discussed this one because we just need that rotational setting. And there was some ideas around, do we even need a specific number, or do we need just like rotation 0 or rotation normal?
Oh, looks like the developer of the driver replied.
Yep, I'm gonna take a look at this comment. It's not intended for production. Okay. And was he the reporter? No, okay, just somebody else thumbed it up. So I guess this one we have to leave. This was sort of pending them kind of carrying the discussion forward before we actually take in any kind of change to the rotation setting.
But like from the answer there, like does it necessarily means that the performance is not going to be as good? No.
Yeah, I don't have enough context to understand when you set the rotational like what is the practical impacts within QEMU? Like does it change the way that it submits IO to the device? I mean, I'm guessing the guest, Windows guest, for example, is probably going to treat an NVMe media differently. Like they might use the file systems. I forget, like some of them do different IO patterns to avoid like wearing certain parts of the SSD when they determine that it's non-rotational. So they might arrange their data on the disk differently and things like that. So I do remember there being some impacts there. You know, aside from, yeah, because I mean, it's line, well, you could say whatever you want about the rotation speed, but it's really dependent on what the backing storage is. So yeah, I think for me, it's like, I think this is still in the court of like, I think he talked about the use case in the beginning. Um, hmm. Yeah, yeah, like I feel like we need sort of like performance results. Like he's saying it's a high performance QEMU feature, but like ultimately the rotational whatever setting of the disk goes back to the underlying storage. So if they are using NVMe devices for storage on the back end, yeah, then maybe there's some performance numbers. But again, yeah, I think that we need like, I think we could insist on,
I think
some proof that
Fabian,
this is needed.
yeah, I think Fabian said the same thing. If you scroll up, I think.
It's too high.
Out of curiosity, yeah, it looks like he's suspecting the same.
Yeah. Oh, here's the answer. That rely on NVMe. Oh, so they want to base, it's because their code oh yeah, so they're using us for testing and they want their software to oh, and they want to have simulate disk errors and things like that.
It's actually the previous company that I worked at.
Oh, okay, nice.
So I know this person. Yeah, they're doing like an NVMe over TCP solution. So yeah, I guess they need the NVMe emulation for testing mostly. So yes, that's why.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting, but it's, it's enabling someone's test bed. But that it's going to make people want to use it for production as well. So I mean, I guess you could put it in there as a but really it's like I would still, before we actually would support it, I think it needs to be shown that it could be high performance. And I think Stefan makes a good point here that like in terms of the practical usage of this, not just so that you don't have to write, because I mean the other answer for them is they could write a mock that that tells their code that certain devices are NVMe when they in fact aren't, if they want to use this platform. But But in order for us to actually put those devices there, they need to be shown to actually work well, like for their intended purpose and not just to make the testing interface easier, if that makes sense. That's kind of what how I'm thinking about this. So it would be nice to see some performance data. Like I think Stefan's comment here is pretty, he's coming at it from like, yeah, if we're gonna support this. So for right now, I guess I don't have a definitive thing to say here, unless anybody else thinks there's additional comments needed, but I think it's on the reporter to continue to push for it. Okay, here we go again with the full memory snapshots. Did anyone say anything? Yeah. Yeah, so we talked about this back in June. Huge benefit to the open source community. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is a good science project for somebody who wants to spend the time. But like right now, that's where we are at with it, I think. Okay. Cross namespace VM snapshots, restores, and clones. This is already outdated. In addition, currently we have no way of transferring a VM from one namespace to another. That is no longer true. It's still alpha. Yeah, so this would be, I guess CDI could implement that that cap for the populators, huh? Is probably the way that you guys would see that happening.
Not necessarily. Like remember the issue we had recently with the authorization. Like ideally, this should be in Kubernetes. I know Michael's he dropped now, but he mentioned that remember these problems well when you consider in-house namespace transfer again. So ideally, we would use the cap, but the cap is stuck, I think.
Yeah, but essentially if you can do a cross namespace restore, then we could have a snapshot in the golden images namespace and then restore it to the user's namespace using the machinery of this cap instead of our token and stuff that we have. Right, so for like CDI cross namespace cloning and snapshot and VM provisioning, maybe it could use it once it matures. But yeah, we're stuck in Kubernetes on this one still. So good to keep this one open. All right. Backup and restore KubeVirt Windows VM, including mounted PVC. Yeah, I think sounds like there's a misunderstanding. Where are we at with the comments here? Alright, we have somebody that wanted to work on it. It seems like a technical support question. I scanned through this really quick, but like they're asking for a feature that we already have. If I understand correctly. Virtual machine export. Oh, they're having a permission denied, lost and found something. So I wonder if their storage is doing something weird with FS groups.
Well, if their storage was doing something weird with FS groups, then VMs wouldn't even get imported and things like that.
Good point. I just see this when you see these permission denieds on lost and found.
Yeah,
So
I think we've actually had a similar type issue in CDI and where we explicitly excluded lost and found from
Okay.
what we look at.
actually, a few releases ago, and historically, KubeVirt also has like its own change mode, change ownership, like a fail path that backs up the kind of protects you against provisioners that don't have FS group support. So we used to have that feature for ages, and we got rid of it recently.
Mm-hmm.
So VMs should work, but VM export doesn't have this kind of fail-safe, or forget the term. Like it doesn't have this virt handler mechanism kick in. It's just a VM export, right? There's no daemon involved,
Mm-hmm.
just the export server.
Yeah, it's just a normal unprivileged pod. So
Yeah,
can't even do that, even if you wanted it to. So we should
but
just exclude that. And
the
have to
lost
look at what's on export server line 519 that's generating this error.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it's maybe tarring up the or like, yeah, creating the tar process or something.
Well,
You tried to use it.
we should be able to exclude lost and found in that command.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the lost and found point is really good. I think that's the bug here, if anything.
Yeah.
And like the FS group handling is out of our hands, so Longhorn, that driver, should be doing that. I don't know why it doesn't.
Does anybody want to take a look at that? Like Alvaro, I don't know if it would be a quick win for you. You've been in that code before.
Yeah, I'm already working on the export server now, so I can work on it.
All right, cool. All right, so let's take a look here. Completion timeout per gigabyte of 150 seconds is not enough for storage migration.
Yeah, that issue popped up at me when you were viewing the filter. I'm surprised we take it into account. Like I think this field is more of a, it relates to like the live migration where we didn't have storage yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, all the cloud init disks and all that stuff. And it seems like now it gets taken into account for storage, and I'm not sure it's intended. Like it seems to me like oversight.
Yeah, I just wonder if we could we could look at the kind of migration that we're doing and then set 800 if it involves storage, set 150 if it does not.
Yeah, that looks more reasonable to me for storage live migration. And I do think we know when it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know before we actually initiate the migration whether or not it's a storage like migration. And this is likely also important for the cross-cluster like migration as well.
Yeah, I'll sign it to you, Alexander.
I should not have said that.
What?
I said I should not have said that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was gonna anyway. For shared,
I wonder why nobody's complained about it until now. Like,
maybe if you have fast enough storage, it works. But this could also, yeah. I mean, I could see this being causing, yeah, just random failures in CI even at some point.
yeah, like if you're going between zones or even nodes, like normal nodes in the same zone, I imagine it's not a lot. Actually, no, that's pretty forgiving value, 150. So yeah, should be okay if you're moving in the same zone.
I mean, if they're, yeah, that's the thing. I would worry that if the network is so slow that, you know, the storage is copying that slow, would you ultimately have problems with a converging the live part of it? Like, you know, the storage, maybe we let it migrate the storage all day, but then when they actually try to do the final VM state migration, it's too slow. But something to look at. Might want to try to figure out like if there's any PRs in the past that changed this setting down, like to see, you know, what issues they were encountering at the time when they lowered it.
Yeah, this is sort of like, you know, half storage, half compute.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring it up in the compute meeting.
Sounds good. All right, let's see if we can take on one more. Create data volume error, importer go, cannot open CDI block volume, permission denied.
I usually reply to these with the document we have in the CDI repo. Maybe I did here. Okay.
Okay, so Alexander provided a super helpful comment and we got no further response. So I'm just gonna do a comment towards the reporter. Usually polite to let us know and oops. All right, and if this thing goes, it's already rotten, so I guess how long until the rotten ones get closed? It'll just solve itself here eventually. All right, so this was really good. We should definitely come back to this list. We got up through actually almost half of them. So next time I'm gonna add a little thing here, which is okay, we got through about half of these issues. Should revisit next time. Well, it's a little late now, but, next time we should, I guess we need to figure out what's the process for the VEPs, and I think the VEP freeze and stuff is coming up next month, if I remember right, so, we should make sure that we're continuing to do the hygiene for our VEPs, and if there's any issues there, or invite people to come and discuss their VEPs here if they need to.
Yeah, and one of the things on the VEPs is we need to essentially assign a reviewer for the VEP, and that's the person that will guide whoever's doing the VEP through, getting stuff merged, so they have a little bit of dedicated review time from people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do we know when the okay, the VEP freeze, and VEP freeze means that just means that the VEPs need to either be merged or not, because yeah, then we have KubeVirt code freeze on 10/29, so you basically get an additional month or so to, it's still pretty short, but I'm gonna write in there VEP freeze is September 3rd. So we'll have one more meeting. To get VEPs across the finish line if people want to. And we also need to remember that it's kind of like like I've seen the way that SIG storage does this in Kubernetes, which is that keps and other features get onto a spreadsheet, and we review them, and we probably ought to review them every time that we get together for this call, just to see. And I mean, people who have active VEPs should probably be attending this call, and getting an update on that. And, like, if the VEP owner doesn't push it, like, we're not gonna track that. Then it either drops to the next release or drops out or whatever, right? So you gotta bring your effort to drive your VEP forward. So,
We have the spreadsheet, or it's not a spreadsheet, it looks like a spreadsheet for all the VEPs.
do you know where that one is again? Is that in SIG community or just community?
I'd have to go look up the URL for that. But I know we have sort of like a spreadsheet thing where we track all these.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where the thing was. Is this even the right place? Because I don't see the storage section. I thought there was like different, maybe it's not. No, it is. This is, actually, I don't even see the the migration one in here.
Yeah, this is probably old repo.
Yeah, it's the enhancements repo.
It's an enhancement, right? It's not community. It's enhancement.
Okay, that's why. Okay, so where, I thought maybe there was a link to that report up here, but that should be in this doc. The template. Enhancement freeze, code freeze, yeah. Yeah, if somebody has that link to that, I don't know why it's not linked in here.
And now we've used it before, so.
Yeah, we have, yeah. Those are just the pull requests. Yeah, there's not a. Okay, so we'll need somebody to help us get that link. If somebody could add it in there if you find it after the fact. That'll help us next time because that's a good chart to go down. Yeah, I think we did it like last time. When we talked about the VertIO Fest. Okay, all right. Well, we are over time, so I'm gonna partially respect your time and at least end 5 minutes late. So thanks everybody for joining. We ended up having some good discussions today and looking forward to seeing you at the next SIG storage call in 2 weeks. Maybe we ought to like post out for people to let them know. Yeah, if somebody gets, I would say that maybe that's Alexander or Alex. If you find that chart, we might want to just reach out to people and let them know that remind them of the vet freeze and stuff, potentially. And if they need to discuss it next time to come here. So with that, I'm gonna end the meeting and thanks all for joining. See you later.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.